Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Randisha, or Randy for short. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a how-to series, like how to set up a budget. So for any budget newbies. So I am going to be using the Happy Planner, the new 2020 budget planner from the Happy Planner. And that's most of the products. Well, exclusively, that's the products I'm going to be using in this video. So that's basically it of how I'm going to set up my budget every month, like the pages I'm going to use. I'm only going to use this one page, this page, and then I'm going to use just one page of weekly expenses, and then that blank notes page in the 2020 budget planner from the Happy Planner. So the rest of these pages are just references. If you do not have these pages from the Happy Planner, it is okay. Just take the ideas and the concepts and get a notebook, grab a pen, and start doing it. You can always pick up this budget planner later if this is the planner that you want, or you can always get a nicer planner later. So it's all about getting started and figuring out your finances. So this page is, I'm going to use it as is, and this is going to be our debt repayment. I wish we would have gotten more pages of this, but I mean, they give you eight spaces already, which is pretty generous. I mean, most people don't really have more than eight debt like categories or debt, you know what I'm trying to say. So this is pretty generous. It's not Happy Planner's fault that I have more than 8 debt repayments. So it is what it is. Okay, and then right here I just popped in the half sheet to list some ideas for this no spend tracker. So I don't really usually get down with no spend trackers, but I'm going to give them a try for 2020. Maybe they will work for me if I just shift my mindset around them. So this is just, a couple of ideas that I want to do for my no spend. And again, I'm just going to use it as is and just tick off every day that I didn't spend on this category. So this right here, it will just serve as a reflection, as it says, like report back. So, okay. And then I only have one page of the no spend trackers because I don't need, I'm on a current month, so I don't need the extra pages that came with it. But you do get, for anyone that hasn't watched like the unboxing video I posted of the planner, the budget planner companion pack, you do get a full year of no spend trackers. So that is good. Okay, so these next couple of pages are going to be a combination of expense trackers from the old budget extension pack, because like I said, I did buy 2 packs of budget extensions because I didn't think that Happy Planner was going to come out with a new layout, and even if they did, I didn't think it would be significantly different from their old one. So I had planned to use that old one and just call it a day. But this one, I'm just using the expense tracker from the old budget extension pack, and I'm using it to track my monthly expenses. So basically, this is every single thing that could come out of our paychecks. So, but only monthly, no yearly stuff on here. So I'm using this as the due date. I'm using this section for notes. It was originally amount, but I tracked the amount somewhere else. And then category description. And then I whited out these pre-filled columns, and I put fixed, variable, debt, auto, and manual. And I did that because at any point in time, if I want to know when a certain bill comes out and if it's part of my fixed expenses, and variable expenses, I use those terms in a different way than what they actually are. I'll get to that in just a second. And then I want to know, is it debt? Is it auto paid, or is it something that I have to manually pay? Like, for example, right now, our water, I have to go on the website and manually pay it ourselves. It's not auto deducted. So it's an easy way to see, is there any potential to put another bill on auto pay in this manual column? So you guys get the gist. So this year in 2019, I only gave myself this one page and I found that it wasn't enough. So this year, not this year. See, I'm already in 2020. I'm ready to go. Next year in 2020, I'm giving myself 3 pages because if I end up canceling my life insurance, which isn't going to happen, I can just cross this out and then make a note of when I canceled it, why I canceled it, things like that. And then if I want to get a new note, then I could just write it in an empty space. So that way it's like a history of what has gone on in the year. And it's a year, so I'm giving myself plenty of space. If you're a budget newbie, give yourself plenty of space. Pop in one of these expense trackers if you want to use an expense tracker, and don't put anything on the back, so you could just keep popping in sheets. Or if you're in a bound, like spiral bound, like an Erin Condren, give yourself a couple of sheets in order to make mistakes and, figure out your groove, because it's a year. You're setting this up for the year. So you want to give yourself enough space. And that way it'll stay organized in one place as well. So until I need these pages, I am going to paper clip them together so that it just flips from this page to this page. Okay, so actually let me go back and put my sticky notes. Oh, and I did want to say about the auto and the manual columns. I do plan to write, if it's auto paid, I want to write the last 4 numbers of the account or debit card, credit card, whatever, so that when I look and see a certain expense, I can see oh, it's auto paid on this card, because we have stuff being auto paid on different accounts. So that would be useful information. And then, or if it's paid by cash, if it's paid by your debit card, whatever. And then let me see. And then another note that I made is that I don't use this column as amount, because 1, I do put it somewhere else, but also 2, say my life insurance policy payment, my monthly payment changed, then I don't have anywhere, I could write another line, but if I erase this and use this as the amount, then I don't have really anywhere to note what the old amount was, because I use a friction pen. So if I erase it, I don't know what the change was. So that's why I'm saying just give yourself space and then just write it down below. And then if you want to put the amount, then go ahead, because you can see what it changed, what it was to what it changed to. And then let's see, just looking at my notes to make sure. Oh, and then this note says all of these reference pages, I kind of scared myself the other day because I left my backpack in my car, but it's in my garage. So I wasn't worried about anybody breaking in, but it just occurred to me, what if I was dropping off my son, and I have a habit of leaving my backpack in my car. So what if somebody in that, 2 minutes that it takes to drop him off, what if somebody broke into my car and took my backpack and took my entire planner, because this is all of my budget? These reference pages would be gone. I would be starting from scratch. So a note that I made is to make copies in some way, shape, or form, whether you want to make it digitally, if you want to just straight copy these pages on a copier, it's good to have a copy of these reference pages. So if something does happen to your planner, like you spill water on it, something trivial like that, then you'll still have your reference pages and you won't need to start from like all the way scratch, like gathering your numbers and stuff. So yeah. Okay, so to this page, these 2 pages I am going to use for my fixed and my variable and my debt expenses that come out every month. But I'm not going to be listing every single expense that's on this monthly page. I'm only going to be listing the things that we are paying, like our current expenses, on these 2 pages. So say like right now we have Apple Music. If I cancel this Apple Music, I don't want to keep it on these pages because these pages tell me a lot of information. So for example, this right here, I used as my fixed expenses. So when I say fixed, I mean 4 walls. So fixed traditionally, in the correct sense, fixed expenses are expenses that the amount doesn't change. And then variable expenses, the amount does change, variable. But the way I use it, I use the term, from here going forward, anytime you watch my budget videos, I'm using fixed in the sense of 4 walls. If, like, for example, if I was to lose my job or my husband was to lose his job, Lord forbid, I want to know what amount of money do we need in order to keep our 4 walls. So in order for one of us to get to work, or whatever, like if I find a part-time job in the meantime, what do I need from that part-time job in order to just keep the lights on? So utilities, gas, food, insurances, basically anything that we deem necessary in order to live our daily lives. It's not going to be pleasant, but because we're not going to have, the I don't know, what do you call it? The conveniences. This is just bare necessities. We're cutting down on food, beans and rice, rice and beans type thing. Like this is what the amount that we need in order to keep a roof over our heads, keep clothes on our backs, to get to work, and to eat every night. We're not eating out, nothing like that, but more on that later. But that's what I mean by fixed expenses. And then down here, I'm going to be listing my debt, and I'm only going to be putting the monthly payment amount. So when I total this section up, that's the amount of debt that the amount of money that we're putting towards debt. So say like something happens, I don't know why I keep using this example, but say like my husband's check was short and we only had enough money to cover our fixed expenses. Then everything in this section is going to get paid. And then this section just isn't going to get paid. So it is what it is. So, but at least I know when looking at our monthly income, like at a glance, do we have enough to cover our standard of living? So all the things that we're doing right now, all of the comforts that we're enjoying, these 2 pages tell me how much money a month we need in order to maintain that lifestyle. So you'll see more on the budget with me. And then right here is the variable expense. So again, if we don't have enough money that month, these items right here are the first things to go. So I don't even need to, like me and my husband don't even need to talk, nothing. I already know that this right here, we've already agreed on. If we're short on money, this has to go. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not using variable in the sense of changing amounts, because like right here I have our Roth IRA. We put it's on pause right now, but we put the same amount of money towards that every month. So traditionally this should be on the fixed expenses side, but I know that if we were short on money, I'm not paying that Roth IRA because I'm worried about making sure my son has hot water to take a bath, that he's comfortable and that he can eat, and he doesn't really know anything. My son is 1, so he doesn't really notice anything has changed. So that's why, that. So how I'm going to set this up, because I did change the headers. I'm going to put notes right here, the amount right here, the category / description right here. And then for you paycheck to paycheck people out there, or budgeters, sorry, I started off doing paycheck to paycheck, but since now that we have monthly checks coming in, I don't necessarily do paycheck to paycheck, but I will show you some tips that you can use, like how I'm doing things, in order to use it for your paycheck to paycheck. Sorry. So of all the expenses right here on these 2 pages, I like to check whether they're coming out, if you're doing paycheck to paycheck, whether they're coming out of the first check. So typically the first check is going to be the 1st through the 15th. And then your second check is the 16th through the last day of the month. Or if you get paid bi-monthly, then, oh no, is it bi-monthly? No, it's bi-weekly. If you get paid bi-weekly, so like is it the first day of the month? No, I think it's the 15th of the month and the last day of the month is bi-weekly. Then you know what you need in order to cover those pay periods. So you could just look at it and say like, oh, everything that's coming out of this paycheck is right here. So you could also use this as a check on your monthly, where's my monthly calendar? On your monthly calendar, to make sure that everything, like that peace of mind, like my budget has to give me peace of mind. So if I'm thinking I'm forgetting something, like I know there was something that I wanted to, that I needed to pay on this date, you could just check these 2 pages and just check, if it's your second paycheck, for example, you could just go down this column and see, like, did I put everything that I needed to pay on my monthly calendar? So that's why I have those 2 columns there. So if ever we were to go back to paycheck, say like in August, my husband changed jobs, then we become on like the same pay period, then we'll go back to paycheck. Then I know at that point in time to just check everything right here, because my whole system has changed. I'm no longer doing weekly, I'm doing paycheck to paycheck. But my budget setup doesn't have to change dramatically because I already have the information that I need. And then right here, these 3 columns, I'm going to use as my totals. So just to total up the different sections. So again, at a glance, I know the total amount that we need every month. And then right here is where I'm going to put the total that we need every month to maintain our standard of living. So that's what these 2 pages are for. Okay. Okay, this page I'm going to use as a medical expense tracker. And because, if you watched a previous video, I said that I feel like we've basically been living in urgent care. And we racked up quite a bit of medical debt on that, more on that later. But for tax purposes, I think this is a good page, because right here, it's not a column. I'm just using like the white space on the edge of the page. I'm going to use it as a checklist of whether I have the receipt for each line item. So that way, come tax season, I can quickly put this together and have peace of mind that I have all my medical receipts. And when I say medical, I mean like hospital bills, dental, and vision. So yeah, so I'm going to have the date, the amount, the service provider, and then I split these columns into 3, and I have one for my son, one for my husband, and one for me. And then at the bottom, I'll put the total because for anybody that will be filing taxes for the first time, most tax people just want the total, like they want totals, and then you give them like what makes up this total and like receipts and stuff. You give it to them, and they'll look it over or whatever. But for the most part, they just want totals because that's what's going to go on your tax form. Okay, and then this section is my annual expense tracker. So this is annual expenses only. So like any memberships, I have our car registrations here, and things like that. So this right here is a teacher checklist that I had this aha moment from Heather Kell of a Plan on YouTube. Originally, I was like moaning and groaning because this page came like this. Oh, no. The front page came with only checklists, because in the teacher planner, it's like this column is way over here, and then it has nothing but checklists for, all of their students or whatever. So I was moaning and groaning that this page that's normally on the left side wasn't on the right side as well. And then I watched one of Heather Kell's videos, and then she just cut off the umbrellas, or like whatever you want to call them, the mushrooms, and then she stuck 2 of them together. So that way the front side and the back side has this little column that you could write, your different categories or headers or whatever you want to call it. I believe that Happy Planner came out with a new teacher checklist where it automatically comes like this, or it's like perforated right here or something like that. But I think I bought the old ones if they have updated it. So that's why I'm just saying, because I know they came out with a newer version, and I don't know which version I have. But anyways, this right here is my annual tracker. So I list all of my annual expenses, and then this first column is blank. And then the second one says funded. So basically at any point in time because I track all of these for the most part in my sinking funds. So funded will basically tell me, do I have this money readily available in my sinking funds? That's basically it. So when the time comes, so say like we have this, basically it's this Norton desktop. It's like our computer security system on my husband's computer. This is I have 27 here because I know in January on the 27th this amount of money is due. So if I check funded, then that gives me peace of mind that this, like come January, I already have this money ready to go. So same thing for our cars. We have a Mazda and the Prius. Those aren't due until April and July. So if we come across, it's kind of like bonus season right now. So if you get a bonus at work, and you want to use it towards bills, you can look at this page and see like, oh, I could use it towards our car registration that's coming up in April and July, but that's a long ways away. You need a way to, remember that you have the money for that. So you're not, like when the time comes, you're not constantly worrying about like whether you have that money. You could basically just check funded and it's in your sinking funds or whatever account that you want to put it in. You have the money. So that's what this is set up as. And of course, these columns are labeled as the months of the year. So at any point in time, I can see what annual expenses are coming up for that month. And then I know when I'm doing that month's budget to make sure that I have these things accounted for in my monthly budget, because they're gonna come out. So you don't want to be surprised by annual expenses, because they're typically larger. So down here I just put 3 paydays. So basically I'm just going to check off when me and my husband have 3 payday months, since we're on different pay periods. Are the months where we get paid 3 times are going to be different. So I just have a space down here for that. So also too, it's good to have it right here, because say like you have a particular month where you have a lot of expenses coming out. So say like you had your car registration, your insurance, your this, your that, and it was all coming out in February. Well, if you go down here, you can quickly see like, will you have a third paycheck or extra income coming in that month? So it's kind of reassuring. So it's kind of like, peace of mind that you don't have to grind if you don't want to in order to pay for all those extra expenses, because you could plan to use your third paycheck of the month in order to cover those expenses. So that's why I put that down there. And then this page is for birthdays and holidays. So I'm going to put all the names of all the people that we want to get birthday gifts for, and like gifts in general. So you put all of the names of the people right here, and then you put the amount. Like this column says birthday, this says Easter, and this says Christmas. So you put how much you want to budget for a gift for that person, and then how much you're gonna. I got caught slipping this year with Easter because it wasn't on here as a holiday, and I totally forgot that I was gonna do Easter baskets for my friends. So I was like, kind of not caught off guard, because Easter's coming, but I just totally forgot. I didn't remember to budget for it because I didn't have it on here. So this year I made a column for it, and I'm going to put how much I want to spend on each Easter basket, like a budget for it. And then right here is going to be my budget amount for Christmas. And then like for those of you concerned with actuals, when that month comes, that's what your planned expenses section is for. So for example, it was my son's birthday on the 2nd this month. So it's still December 2019 when I'm recording this. It was his birthday on the 2nd. So I could just look at this and put how much I want to put in my December budget for his birthday gift. Like I don't even have to think about it because it's already right here. And then down here, I have the actual holidays that I want to budget for. So Mother's Day, Father's Day, our anniversary, Valentine's Day, Independence Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and New Year's Eve, just in case, you want to turn up. You can, you're already budgeted for it down here. So you don't really have to worry about it. So these are not all the holidays. If you celebrate more holidays, like if in your family you're the hostess, then go ahead and list all of the events and the holidays and all that you can expect to host. Maybe you have Memorial Day. Maybe you're hosting, a loved one's milestone birthday. So say like it's somebody's 60th birthday or something like that, and you're hosting that party. You can go ahead and list it right here and make a budget for it. So this right here, I'm doing total. So 2020 gifts total. And then I'm going to add all these amounts up, and then I'm going to put the total right here. And then this is my gift sinking fund total. So basically this amount, I'm going to split it into the number of months, so 12, that I want to create for my sinking fund. So say this number came out to $1,200. Well, then the sinking fund total is going to be $100 because $1,200 over 12 months is $100 a month that I need to set aside in order to fund all of these. I don't even know if that was in frame. All of these birthdays and like all of these gifts and holidays. But okay, so this page, I'm going, like, I didn't think I was going to use this page because I didn't really have a need to see anything, at least just three columns or categories. I didn't have a need to know what those totals were every month, let alone every year. So I didn't think I was going to use this page, but what I'm going to use it for is business income, business expenses, and business taxes. So I don't know if I'll need this for 2020, but I should be able to use it for 2021. So I just popped it in here just in case I need it in 2020. So basically, I'm just going to use this once my channel gets monetized. I'm going to look and see how much money the channel is bringing in every month and like track what kind of taxes I may need to save up for or pay. Because, sometimes if your channel is big enough, you'll have to pay quarterly taxes, or if your business is big enough, you'll have to pay quarterly taxes. So that's what I plan to use this for. So like for this amount of money, this was the amount of taxes that I needed to pay. So that'll be helpful to see at a glance. And then I just put my own totals down here because it didn't come with totals. And down here, I plan to just write any notes that will give me further information on any of the numbers that I put here. Okay. And then right here is just a blank, a blank notes notes page. And I don't have any plans for this page just yet, but if I could always use it for if this section isn't big enough, then I could just write more notes on the back. So this page I'm actually excited about because this one I actually thought of on a whim, and it kind of like spurred from food is the category that I don't know how much money we're spending on it because I don't like to track expenses. I hate tracking expenses as we like pay out, but I will do it for business because that's business. But like daily stuff like food and gas and things like that, I hate doing that. But I think for budget purposes, it would be good to know how much money we're spending at the end of the year, because that way I can adjust my budget in 2021 for food. So I'm going to attempt to do these monthly totals, and so that way I have a better sense of what we're doing every year or this year, because it is different. Like before, I didn't really have to worry about this, but now that we have our son, our food is going to be different. We're making extra stops for taking him to daycare, so our gas is going to be different. We have another person in the house, so our utilities is going to be different. Medical expenses, that's what that stands for, medical expenses is going to be different. We now have daycare expenses, and then I just threw these two in here. This is business expense and business income. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, because I made this page before I popped this one in, I think I'm just going to not put these here, but whatever, I'll figure it out. But I wanted 7 categories because I wanted them to color coordinate with this side right here. So I know the pink, because these are just going to be dollar amounts. I just have the categories right here just for to remember what they are before I start my budget. So the pink is going to have a dollar amount. So say it's like $432.15. So I know, since this is pink and this is pink, it's like that's my, my color key. And I'm just going to make this cute by putting the name of the category and just using stickers to kind of like decorate it. But that's all this page is for, just a, very cute yearly expense tracker type thing. So I'll probably post this on Instagram once I'm all done, if you want to see the final results. So, this right here is just the first letter of the month. So January, February, March, April, and you get the rest. So, and then I'm just going to put overview at the top in alpha stickers. So that's what I'm going to use that page for. Okay. And then the back of the page, again, my husband is in the medical field, so he has like a alphabet soup of certifications that he needs. It's like ABC certification, FLM certification, like all these certifications that he needs in order to do his to stay employed and do his job. So it's like continued education credits, basically. So I'm going to make a tracker. I'll show you what I did before. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Basically, these are all of the certifications that he needs. This is the amount of the certification, like the application, in order to, renew his certification. And then this is the next renewal. So most of the time when you have certifications, you don't need to renew them for long periods of time. So sometimes it could be every couple of months, but mostly it's every like 2 years. And then right here is all of his continued education, like the hours he need in order to maintain his licenses. So like for this one, he needs 48 hours of continued education. Well, these classes are going to cost us. So I want to in addition to the certifications, the amount that we need to pay for his applications for his certifications, we need to know how much the classes he needs to take in order to get his required amount of hours in order to renew his certification. I track that right here. So again, those classes are going to cost. So basically this setup, I'm just going to redo right here with current information. Okay. And then this right here, I'm going to use as business income whenever, that time comes. Again, I don't know if I'm going to use this in 2019, but hopefully. And then this is going to be business expenses. I put this one on the back because if I need, because it's for a year. So if I need more pages, I'm going to just pop in more expense trackers from the old budget extension. So that's why. And then this right here is the savings tracker from the Budget Planner Companion. And I'm going to use it as kind of like when was the last time I, that kind of tracker. So when was the last time we got an oil change and stuff like that? Well, that's good to know because you can kind of predict when you need another one, but I want to use this as an expense tracker. So, not only when was the last time I went and got an oil change, but how much was it? Where did I go? Because maybe the next time I go get an oil change, I'm trying somebody new and they gave me a better price than what I paid for last time. Well, I want to know where did I go last time and who am I going to this time? So that type of thing. If you don't want to do that, then, just date the amount and like the service you got. You can use these 3 columns for that. So one is for my husband's car, one is for my car, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the back, but I'm going to do it with any house expenses. So our house is brand new. It was a new build, so I'm not expecting any house expenses in 2020, but you never know. Stuff happens. So hopefully I don't have to use like these 2 columns for house expenses. My intention is to leave this one blank. So just in case in the upcoming year, if I have any anything that I want to do, like a when was the last time I type of thing, then I have a free column for that. And then right here, I just have the folder from the Budget Planner Companion, just so I can stick in any like bills or whatever that I want to call on, or, you know, just any documents or whatever that I want to keep up with. So that is basically the end of my like overview. I will come back and do like a setup or budget with me type thing, but I just want to give you guys my thoughts on how I'm going to set up my budget, just so if you find any tips or whatever, then, you know, you can implement them in your budget before the year begins. And if you're a budget newbie, then maybe you could try my system, and you know, you could try it as your starting point and then develop it over time to suit you. So again, or, you know, just take tips and little things that I'm doing in order to start your budget, even if you're a new budgeter. You don't need my entire system. Just, you know, see what works for you, what doesn't. You don't need to exactly copy what I'm doing, because my situation is not your situation. Everybody's budget is different, and everybody's situation is different. So what works for me may not work for you. I'm just trying to show you what I do in order to hopefully give you some tips on how to do things. So I will say that since I no longer do paycheck to paycheck, I know it is a lot of people that do paycheck to paycheck budget. So I'm going to set up my planner the way I do it now, which is basically on a monthly basis type thing. But I'm going to do a video of the way I do it, and like a budget with me, the way I do it currently, which is on a week to week paycheck. But I'm also, it depends on how long that video gets, but I'll probably do a completely separate video of showing you if I were to go back to paycheck to paycheck, where basically we get paid every 2 weeks or twice a month. Then how this budget would look. It will basically be the same setup, except that I would use the sections a little bit differently, and I would have like, I would do things a little bit differently. And also I'm going to cater that paycheck to paycheck system to, just in case you don't use cash envelopes, you can use it in like that way for you. And then if you do use cash envelopes, I'm gonna lump that all into one video of if I was doing cash envelopes on a paycheck to paycheck type system, how this setup will work for you. So yeah, so those are the videos I'm thinking about putting out. If there is something that you want to see in regards to budget setups or something like that, just leave a comment down below, and I respond to every comment. So if you have a video suggestion for the budget, let me know, and I will do my best to make a video for it to help you out. So if it hasn't already been answered in another video that I plan to make. So yeah, if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of the videos that I have that are going to be coming up in my how to budget series, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.